What flat earth means to me. I was a happy kid. Even after my father divorced my mother and moved away, I maintained a cheerful disposition through most everything I did. I was an old soul and found listening to the old timers as enthralling as playing running bases with the neighborhood kids. There was very little that didn't interest me. While I excelled in sports and academics, I also developed a deep appreciation for the arts. I remember my grandmother telling me I was very well-rounded, and I made it a mission to maintain this balanced approach as I grew up. When I was about 12 years old, a depression set in that was unseen by my family before then. Family and doctors were unable to determine the root cause, and I cannot say for sure. I think back to the book and movie Where the Wild Things Are, and the main character's sudden act of rebellion brought on by his disappointment in learning that the son would die. Maybe this revelation had upended my feelings of belonging. Don't get me wrong, I believe it is possible to live a meaningful life believing in the happenstance nature of reality, but I can't help but to think this worldview has rendered man sad and unsure. Heliocentrism has successfully stripped man of his significance, connection to his creator, and inculcated an impending sense of doom in the hearts and minds of men. I was raised Catholic, but very little emphasis was placed on following its creeds. I recall attempting to communicate with God in the shower and never feeling answered or even listened to. As a child, one is incapable of making heads or tails of anything taught as truth, evidenced by every child falling for the Santa Claus deception. In the church, the words faith and belief are mixed up with story that seem to be true. Why would anyone write it if it didn't happen? I remember Father Testis applying a definition of faith as believing in your heart what your brain tells you can't possibly be true. This definition would stick with me when I began my investigations into our reality after dropping out of college. My dismissal of faith in all things religion for the cold hard logic of the scientific method became the cornerstone of my worldview. The Creator was merely an idea primitive peoples relied on to give them strength during the tough times in the Goldilocks zone. Viewing evolution as proven science, I fought against all notions of the Creator. No, he didn't get the ball rolling. Well, who created him? All logic seemed to denote a universe creating itself through natural processes with no intelligence or intent behind nature. After all, why would an intelligent creator waste so much space? An atheist from the age of 20, I even adopted an anti-theist position, arguing that an all-knowing creator watching everything I did was distasteful and platitudinous. I would often say I planned on being an atheist till the day I died. Experimentation with hallucinogens yielded feelings of connectedness and inanition all at the same time. Even smoking DMT had very little effect on my psychology. I was exceptional at reasoning for the scientific paradigm, arguing that evolution had produced the mechanism that furnished man with a religious experience and feeling of connectedness to the cosmic fabric. Since life is a copying machine, it made sense that the prevalence of these experiences between cultures was merely a product of evolution. The belief that Earth was a finite resource shaped my understanding and views of how humanity should organize our social system. While I railed against the authorities manufacturing consent with propaganda, ideas like global warming and scarcity were imperative challenges to be solved if humanity was to guarantee ourselves a future on this strange rock. The cosmic insignificance of humanity and the Earth afforded me the opportunity to choose my own meaning and purpose, and I kind of liked that. I decided that the only goal worth achieving was revolution and a toppling of the current power structure. However, I had no idea how to achieve it. Humanity seemed divided, meek, and apathetic. The establishment seemed organized, dedicated, and entrenched. I tried to keep a happy face on, despite recognizing the elite's insurmountable power and the masses' trained indifference in world affairs. I found love and devotion to my family, friends, and lover to be enough to keep going on while I lived a menial existence. Then on Monday, December 12, 2016, 33, I woke up with terrible chest pains at 4 o'clock in the morning. I had never felt anything like it. The only thing comparable was when in the middle of a mushroom trip, a deep feeling of emptiness made me desire to feel anything. Pain was the easiest feeling to attain, so I had my favorite globetard smash a log into my chest. The pain was immense, and I fell to my knees, unable to speak. Nothing remotely close to that pain had befell me until that fateful morning. The pain dissipated after 15 to 20 minutes, and I was able to fall back asleep. The pain would return 4 more mornings, all around the same time. On the 5th day, I decided I could not live like this anymore. I desired to sleep through the night and enjoy my life, so I decided to make a change. I went vegan, and immediately the pain was gone, never to return. I took on this new lifestyle with zeal and gratitude as I had never felt before. As I had never felt better. Between the 16th and Christmas Day, I started seeing very unusual things. Things I would think about would manifest at night. After seeing these things, I began to question whether these events could be explained by chaos. There seemed to be great order and intent behind these happenings. At this point, I went agnostic, admitting that I only know what I had been told. Come Christmas, and I am eating dinner at my brother's with my girlfriend and family. I was trying to talk conspiracy and was onto the idea that Michelle Obama and Donald Trump's wife were transgendered. My family, uninterested in conspiracy, tried to change subjects. My brother said to me, though he did not remember it, "You are just a conspiracy theorist. You want to believe in conspiracy, so you do. What do you think, the earth is flat?" Having never heard this idea, I responded, "That is probably just controlled opposition, something the government puts out there to muddy the conspiracy waters and make us all look like a bunch of fools." I thought nothing of it the rest of the night. Then a couple or a few days later, suddenly the Flat Earth conspiracy was in my YouTube feed. As a dedicated conspiracy researcher and the Flat Earth picking up steam since 2015, there was no one who should have seen this idea more than me. I clicked on it and could not argue with any of it. I immediately thought about the flights I had taken over the Midwest and seeing what seemed like flat squares of land in every direction for hundreds of miles. I knew almost immediately that the Earth truly is flat. I began to see my experiences of chest pain and odd coincidences as all a part of God's plan to wake me up to the truth of His creation. I began to think of myself as a prophet and convinced myself I could reconcile God's plan for me if I traced my past and could anticipate the future. I began to see a fight brewing between humanity and what I coined the satanic, Jewish, Freemasonic, secret tranny New World Order agenda. I thought that the elites were planning to block out the sun and use its disappearance as a bargaining chip for getting the one world government. This feeling of God-given importance produced a dedication in me that I had never felt and was rarely seen in any human. I experienced prolonged psychosis, mania, and hypomania centered around unmasking the plot, all while trying to carve out a new role for myself within my community as a builder of economy. I believed the creation of a new localized economic model could be created, spread, and supplanted over the globalist agenda. I was determined to get this done in my hometown. In the months that followed, I worked my ass off to wake others and enact my plans for sweeping change. I felt it was inevitable and imminent, so nothing could derail me. No one saw it as I did. Everyone saw me as having lost my mind. Incredible coincidences followed me everywhere, but as resolute as I was in my beliefs that there was cosmic significance anchoring my story, my friends, family, and lover were staunch in their belief that it was all delusion caused by my sudden bodily chemistry change, prior drug use, and deep-seated desire for purpose. Eventually, I determined that I was going to be unable to achieve my desired aims in my hometown and would need to relocate. I put my life in God's hands and set out west to find a new tribe. After a month of synchronicity-riddled travels in the Southwest, I landed in Seattle. I immediately started seeing signs that I had finally landed in the place I was meant to be. The whole story can be heard in my video, A Flat Earth Awakening Story Unlike Any Other, on my YouTube channel, The Truth Shall Set You Free. I settled on the idea that I had arrived in Seattle to convince Seattleites to believe in Seattleites and not satellites. 2 years have passed since arriving in Seattle, and while I have woken a few to our reality, I see my mission as just beginning. The last 2 years were my proving grounds to myself that I could put on the armor of God without fear. My fears of not being perfect, gaining love and losing it, and disappointing others have subsided, and my love for myself and my story have grown to astronomical proportions. Since awakening the Flat Earth, I have felt extreme sadness and loneliness, incredible joy, and periods of blissful acceptance of all that comes my way. I see all the pain, suffering, doubt, and fear as perspective completing dualities, all in aims of making me whole, making me holy. I cannot look back at anything without feeling gratitude. I feel like Kevin Spacey at the end of American Beauty. I recognize that my extraordinary story has appreciated me with an understanding of self that is unique within our community. I believe I was chosen for this work. I had nothing to do with it. I couldn't resist it no matter how much I wanted to. I understand that many, even flat earthers, will deny my significance within the community. This does not bother me. Some who have gone flat still maintain their ego and believe they discover the truth through their own volition. I think we were all chosen and should accept our role as way seers. My belief that all is perfect, we are all precisely who our Creator made us to be, and history will unfold exactly as it is meant to, affords me an opportunity to stand up to the powers that be without hesitation or doubt and resist any feelings of inadequacy. My unbridled joy will hopefully be seen as an act of resistance and will persuade others to follow suit. I know I need to shine as brilliantly as possible to give others the impetus to raise their levels of joy and productivity. Overcoming the trained apathy and indifference of the masses is a challenge I willingly accept. Those reluctant to accept the brainwashing will not capitalize on the New Age's leveling of the playing field. Those who can dissolve their ego and accept their own foolishness will have a leg up in the future. It seems that the University of Washington's physics faculty has done their best to sweep my visit and attempts to dialogue under the rug. I honestly hoped to be invited back, but it seems that will not be the case. No biggie. The best way to gain an audience is to pick a fight, right? So I will attempt to draw them out from the shadows by reading from the Book of Gravity tomorrow in front of the physics building. I do not know what God has planned for tomorrow, but I can't wait to find out. My passion for truth will be the light that guides my adventure, and I shall not quit until the ball has fallen. The earth is truly an electric paradise designed by a brilliant creator that loves all of his creation. The apple had to feel a pull. The apple had to feel a pull so the yellow circle in the sky could become orange-shaped and the ground beneath our feet pear-shaped to create an ever-changing plum to hide the nature of current. But the water barrel will pour truth down upon us, and we will remember our divinity. It's also very exciting, and I can barely contain myself. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Stay flat. Godspeed, my friends.